Hello and welcome to 10 Ways to Teach a Child Using Practically Anything, and in this case, a rubber duck. My name is Sarah Scoggin, and I'm the Early Childhood Librarian at the Newburgh Free Library. There may be many times when you want to give your children a learning opportunity, but you don't really feel like you have the materials. But I'm of the belief that pretty much anything can be used as a teaching tool. So I picked a rubber duck, and we can get started with 10 tips. Some are for older and some are for younger children. So the first tip is for the little babies, just learning to talk, and you could say, well, what is it? First question, what is this? What do we do with it? It could go in your bath. Then we could talk about, well, it looks like a duck. What is a duck? It's a bird. It can fly. It comes out of an egg. This is called a beak. Just all the details about this object. You could also go a step further and say, where did this come from? Where did we get it? This one's actually from our baby storytime program at the Newburgh Library. It says, Bath Then Books. So tip number one, what is it? What are the details of it? Number two, what is it made of? Or how was it made? So this is made of plastic, and you could talk about plastic. It's kind of squishy, um, and it's light. If the child was old enough, you could talk about how they made a mold, something, a shape of the duck that was hollow, empty inside, and they put in the plastic to make the plastic the shape of the duck. Talk about how it was made. Number three, what color is it? Starting from the toddlers, we just say, it's blue. If you have other items, you can compare them. So we have here my duck and a Duplo. It's kind of light blue as opposed to this is dark blue. I might use the word navy blue. So I can introduce that color word. I could say it's different than this turquoise blue block that I have. So you could expand color words if they already know blue. Uh, Number four, what size is it compared to other things? So this duck's a lot smaller than me, but it's bigger than this little orange that I have. So you compare bigger, smaller, you could get several items if you had them handy and say biggest, medium, smallest. Uh, Number five is my favorite. What can our senses tell us about this duck? Well, we can't taste this duck and it doesn't really smell like anything, but we could feel how smooth the plastic is. We could hear it squeaking. Um, we could see what it looks like, a smile on the duck's face. And then after you've used all your senses that you can, to put down the object, close your eyes, and then have the child describe the duck, kind of practicing observations. How many things can you observe about this duck using your senses? Um, so you could also play a game if the child was older of pretending that you've never seen a rubber duck, that you're from another planet, and have them tell you about the duck. I say, well, it's a rubber duck. I say, well, what's a duck? Well, the duck's an animal. Um, and then say, well, what animal? Well, it's a living thing. It has these things called feathers that let it push the air, so that's how it can fly. Um, it's a good mental exercise, kind of reverse 20 questions to pretend you're describing any object to someone who knows nothing about it. Number six is especially good for the toddlers, position words. So this duck could be under my hand, over my hand, behind my hand, next to my hand, going around my hand, all the prepositions and position words. I could do right and left practice, especially if you have the child facing the same way that you're facing. You could practice what's the right side, the left side for position words. If they already are old enough that they know those position words, you could increase the vocabulary and say this duck is hidden, or even if it's sticking out a little bit, the duck is obscured. You can get as fancy as you want with the vocabulary words as to position. All right, number seven is where have we seen something like this before? Have we seen real ducks outside our window? Have we seen a rubber duck on TV? Have we seen a rubber duck in a story? Does this remind us of the Five Little Ducks? You could sing that song. You could sing Ernie from Sesame Street sings Rubber Ducky or The One. So connect it to make connections is number 7, tip number 7. As many or as silly as you want. Tip number 8. What sound does this begin with? So start with saying, well, it starts with the sound d, d, and say what letter that is. Or you could say it starts with D and then say what sound does that letter make. You could think of other things that start with the same sound. You could think of words that rhyme with duck. So the phoneme, practicing sounds with whatever object that you have, especially those confusing letters where something could start with a C or a K and it might not be clear which one it is, or sort of odd words that start with silent letters. You could work on those if you had an object in that case. So 8 is working on sounds. Tip 9 is kind of an opinion. What do you think of this duck? Do you like it? Why or why not? Would this make a good gift for someone? Why would that be a good gift? And you can get silly with this too. You could say, well, I think a real duck would like this. I think a duck character might like this. I think the grandma would like this. Just a fun kind of a game with what do you like about this duck? I might say, I like this duck because it seems happy, or it can be part of my bath toys, or whatever my answer is. And number 10 is what can I pretend with it? For something like a duck, it's a lot more obvious what you could pretend because it looks like something in the real world. You could pretend that the duck is going down the river and getting lost and going on adventures. But if the object I were using for teaching was something like an orange, I could maybe pretend I'm making a commercial telling you why this orange is great, or telling you how much I think it costs in the store. Or I could pretend it was a ball that a clown was juggling. Or I could just be creative with that object, pretending something with it. I could even go beyond that and talk about science if the child was old enough, but even pretty young children could do things like, does this float? Yeah, we've seen this float. If it's something that I can put in water, I could put this in the water and see if it floats. Does it slide? If we put it on a slope, does it slide very well? Does it roll? Um, is it heavy? Is it light? Is it heavier or lighter than something else? If you were working with a slightly older child, like a 4-year-old, and they could safely have a small object, you could say, well, what's this? This is mommy's thimble. Why is it important that we keep this away from your baby sister? And they could say, oh, it's too small. They might try to eat it. Really anything that gets them thinking. Let's say your object was a chopstick that came with takeout food, and you could say, well, what's that made of? It's made of something called bamboo, and that's a plant, and it grows lots of different places in the world. Pandas eat bamboo. You could say some kinds of bamboo grow so fast that you could go in the morning and measure it, and when you come back at night, it's a foot taller. It's about that tall in one day. It goes up 60 feet in 3 months. So you can use that as kind of a gateway to explore new topics, new ideas, fun facts. And you might not know some of those facts. Like for the rubber duck again, I could just ask questions. I could say, what's the biggest rubber duck in the Guinness Book of World Records? I could say, how many kinds of ducks are there in the world? Real ducks. Questions that I don't know the answer to right now, but I could go and find out more. So it might make me curious to learn more about the world, starting with something like a rubber duck. If you are a Newburgh Free Library card holder, we have some children's databases, like eSebco, for instance. Let's say the object of the day was a rock, like I found outside. There are several books that you can read online all about rocks of different types, lots of pictures to get them interested. There's also online open databases that are for children, like the Library of Congress has a kids database, Fact Monster, things like that, instead of just Googling on the open web. So meant to be a place where kids can find out more. So those are 10 ways that you can learn using practically anything. Thank you.